Hey, how you doing? So, you're either looking to or have already purchased an SD2 IEC for your Commodore 64. Maybe you're looking for a more convenient way to store your software or trying to cut down on the wear and tear of your physical copies. Whatever excuse you're going with for stealing games, there's no judgment here. Let he who is without sin cast the first stone. It certainly won't be me. In this video we'll see what SD2 IECs are out there for your C64. I'll show you where to get the software to run it, how to load it into your SD card, and how to get it all running on your Commodore. This is the one I have. I got it from sordan.ie and it works fine. It does what it says in the tin, and you can get this for around about €36, £30 plus shipping. It's one of the cheaper ones out there, and in its favour, once it's plugged in, it's pretty much out of sight and out of mind. I do regret buying this one though, but possibly for a very stupid reason. This one is way cuter, and for only a few quid more. Made in the style of the old floppy disk drive for the C64, it has a few style options on the casing to match the hardware you're connecting it to. They cost around £40 from thefuturewas8bit.com plus shipping. An additional feature that these ones have that I like very much is an auto-generate auto-swap file. And that alone is worth the extra money, I think. You'll see why later in the video. Also, this guy makes these things himself with a couple of his friends and puts the profits into developing cool new gadgets to modernise old computers. If we don't support people like this with our cold hard cash, they can end up making weapons for the Libyans just to get the parts they need.
Of course, from a group of Libyan nationalists. They wanted me to build them a bomb, so I took their plutonium and in turn gave them a shiny bomb casing full of used pinball machine parts.
There are plenty of SD2 IECs out there, so have a hunt and find the one you like the best. I'm a layperson to all this, so this is a very basic understanding of what it is. Your SD card goes in here. This plugs into your dataset port to grab the 5 volts of power it needs to operate, and that's all that's for. This plugs into the serial port, and these two buttons on the top are to go to the next disk and previous disk for multi-disc programs. It's a simple affair. Get yourself an SD card. I have a 32 gig micro SD and an adapter, which is way too much space for what I'm using it for. From what I hear, most of us are unlikely to even need 2 gigs to accommodate our C64 software, and apparently larger SD capacities also don't like the SD2 IEC, but I've had no problems with this 32. Format your SD card, which is a doddle. Type this PC into your search bar and there it is. Right click, select format, hit start, and that's your SD card ready for you. Now what you need is something your C64 is going to recognise. What you want is a file browser. The one I use is from Commodore.software, and you'll find a link to them in the description below. Download, show in folder, unzip, open your new folder, and there it is. We need one file out of this folder to run our software on the C64. Open programs, and there it is, this one, FB64. This is your C64 file browser. Minimize this window and go to the desktop, right click, new folder, name it whatever you want. C64 probably makes sense, but there's nobody going to stop you naming it. Optimus Prime hasn't passed his MOT if you want to. Move your FB64 file in, and we now have a file browser for our C64. What you need now is a .d64 file for the file browser to list. I just happen to have a .d64 file right here. I can't tell you where to get .d64 files because, well, piracy. Now that you have a .d64 file to use, put it into your SD card. Put it into a folder called Games if you're one of those wonderfully organised people that take up the slack for the rest of us. Now you're ready to go. Put your SD card into the slot, Plug your SD2IEC module into the dataset slot, plug in your serial jack and power up your C64. Your C64 basic boot up screen. Time for the magic words. Load FB64 close quotation marks. This is your browser, comma 8 your drive, and comma 1, then press return. There you go, it's found it. Now type run. If you have a fast loader plugged into your cartridge port, it will load, well, fastly. If you don't, then it'll take as long as it would take a cassette. And there you go, you're done. But what about the multi-disc programs? Well, I haven't wrestled that one into submission yet. I'm doing something wrong, but I haven't figured out what it is. This is why the auto swap button is a good option. You have to write a file to put in, then you have to push buttons on the SD2IEC, and I just haven't figured out the order of it yet, even though I've watched people do it. Thank you very much for watching, and be excellent to each other.